Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. It's Platinum God Games here, bringing you The Last of Us 2, new game, whole game, grounded permadeath walkthrough guide. Wow, what a mouthful. This series of videos will be focused on big sections of the game, such as Abby Day 1, Ellie Day 1, etc. However, it'll be broken up into chapters, so feel free to jump between the chapters as you see fit. I'll take you through every encounter and show you my strategies, whether it be stealth or kill all, or a bit of both. I'll discuss contingencies for in case sections go bad, which it can very well happen. I'll show you where I collect all of my items, parts, weapons, holsters, training manuals. I'll show you what I upgrade when, and I'll tell you why. I'll also show you all the door codes, gate codes, safe codes, and I'll be showing you a few tips and tricks on dealing with enemies such as clickers, bloaters and shamblers, and some hidden items along the way. So please don't forget to like, subscribe and check that bell alert so you know when new videos go live. I hope you enjoy the series. Here we go. A little bit about me for those of you who don't know me. I'm a completionist gamer, Twitch variety streamer and content creator, so check out my social links below and you can catch me live on my Twitch stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday at 8 AM Australian Eastern Daylight Time at platinum_god_games. So come and say hello. So here for the Abby percentage of the prologue, none of the items you collect carry over, so it doesn't really matter. Now, with this first infected, I prefer to dodge, then attack and kill it. However, you can stand up immediately and just run away. The best way I've found to kill this one is to wrong foot it. It puts up the right arm, so I dodge left. You may have already noticed, or you will notice, that a lot of this video is in fast forward. Now I've done that to shorten the travel times between destinations where there's nothing happening. However, when I'm picking up items or I feel that it's an area where you need to see the direction that I've gone, the route that I'm taking, I'll slow the footage back down to regular speed so that you can keep up. I do find it quite amusing hearing the dialogue in chipmunk speak. Now remember, none of these items carry over when you start the Abby percentage in the stadium, so it doesn't really matter. However, it does help to have some pistol ammo. Back in that house we just passed, there is a med kit as well, if you're feeling uncertain about the gondola scene. Even though this video is primarily aimed at other people trying to complete a whole game permadeath, other people can use this as a grounded walkthrough, and Abby already has a med kit on her, so with these strategies you should be fairly safe, as long as you can follow my guide. Some of them will take some practice. I didn't just pick up these strategies and then go, wow, that's consistent, it works every time. I've had to work at it, so if it does fail the first time or the second time, keep trying. I only decided to make videos of these strategies because I've found them to be very consistent and I thought other people would find them useful. And people that I have told during my streams when I'm live or they've watched, they're like, I love that strategy, it works for me every time. So here they are. So again, this whole section here, you can actually just sprint through. You don't have to kill any of them and collect any ammo or anything. You can just leg it if you want. I feel that it's more safe to kill this one here and then maybe sneak up as close as I can to the runner that you see in the background, then run through.
Where's the patrol?
So now we're starting the Ellie section of the prologue, and these items will carry over with you when you head to downtown Seattle. So try and use everything sparingly. There's a few tricks to help you save ammo in here. Tips about how to kill a clicker without being alerted, but sneaking up as quickly as possible.
Nothing is that spectacular.
Now, throughout this whole section, I maximize the items and parts that are collected, and everything that I'm doing for most of these sections is setting up for the next sections that are coming for certain strategies. So you need to pay attention to what I'm crafting, what I'm upgrading, when, and I'll tell you why as well. You're probably thinking the same thing I'm thinking right about now. Woohoo! 3 parts, yay. Thanks.
Hey, should we check these houses out?
Seems quiet, but we can if you want. I bet they still got supplies.
So the first thing that I upgrade
What do
when
you
it
know about
comes
this
to
place?
the pills that you collect
Just
will
another
be
evacuated neighborhood.
faster
In fact, it almost never make it
crafting
out this
and
far.
upgraded
We
melee
usually catch 'em
weapons,
on the outer perimeter.
only so I can get to the crafting smoke bombs instead of
Invited
stun
you
bombs.
over. Watch a movie?
And the parts we don't use until again in downtown Seattle, and we'll be upgrading the rifle.
What movie you
We'll be
guys
doing
gonna
the
watch?
scope and
What's
the
Joel into?
accuracy, mostly for the corridor in the school. So do not upgrade anything else, or it'll
He's really into
make the strategies a little harder,
No.
if not completely
really like
impossible.
them too.
Now, having said that, there's a lot of items when you get to downtown Seattle that do not trigger unless you've upgraded certain things, such as the scissors,
Dina,
tape
this way.
or binding, canister, things like this. So they won't appear in the stage unless you've upgraded certain things in the skill tree. So that's another reason why we do it, and we do it when we first get to the training manual at the start of downtown Seattle. A little fun fact for you here, it's something to try out. You can make Ellie do a one-handed reload if you open the door and press reload at the same time. She'll eject the magazine with one hand and reload it on her thigh.
You good? Yeah.
Like many parts to this game, there are so many different ways to do things. In this strategy here, I go immediately for the nearest runner, but I wait. If you watch, I get up behind and I wait for that other runner to take 2 or 3 steps. Otherwise it can spot you, and the next thing you know, you're in an alert, you're using pistol ammo, you're trying not to get hit or getting hit. It's not worth it, so just be patient. A lot of my strategies throughout my permadeath runs require a bit of patience. The other thing is, I don't want to use any ammo at all. I want to save it all for human encounters, such as the school or Capitol Hill if things go wrong. I don't want to waste any ammo. I don't want to have to use any health kits. I want to save all of it. So pretty much all of my stealth strategies are using stealth kills with the knife. Another little nugget of wisdom you may find helpful is that having developed these strategies where I'm pretty much a bit of a tight ass and I don't want to use any items, I will give you the advice that took me a while to learn, which is if it's going to save your life, use it. There's no point dying with a whole backpack full of items and 3 health kits if you're not going to use them. So don't be tight ass to the point where it'll cost you your life and your permadeath run. Just use them. I've died so many times during permadeath runs because I didn't want to use any more items than I already have, and that's just stupid. I've also died over stupid stuff like a quarter of a piece of cloth. So also don't take unnecessary risks. I've done this a few times, such as trying something different on the run, on the fly, trying a different strategy that I might have seen someone else do. Ultimately, I've died. Very rarely does that actually pay off. So stick to your strategies, have faith in what you're doing. If you want to do a different strategy because you're not happy with the one that you have, or you think you can develop something better, then practice it before doing it in a permadeath run. You'll probably find that most of these strategies you may develop your own methods or adapt and modify these strategies to suit you, and that's completely fine.
Keep your eyes peeled for older infected.
However, when it comes to alerted survival skills like having to fight to save your life, I can give you some tips, but that's all up to the player, their reaction time and their skill.
Let's get to the ground floor.
For our visually impaired friends, here's the first safe code for you, 072013. So I also point out here where you can look it up. In case you're in the middle of a permadeath run and forget what the safe code is, it happens. So simply return to the wall here and look at the picture of the dog. July 2013. 072013. So in case you're just using this as a grounded walkthrough, that information can be found on a note. So it's obtainable, but I save you the trouble of having to figure out the little puzzle involved. So for safety, as soon as the game gives me control here, I'm pressing down on the D-pad to get the brick. I try to make sure that wherever I'm traveling, I have a brick or a bottle in my hand, just in case. Now I go to prone here so the clicker doesn't hear me. You can do the same if you don't trust pushing forward slightly on the stick and crouch. You can also hold aim with a pistol. Now my trick with the clickers here is to stay about 1 meter or 3 feet behind them, then pop up into crouch and start spamming triangle. She will grab it, she'll lunge at it automatically. Do not push forwards with the stick when you come out of crouch. Ellie will lunge automatically when you press the grab. And again, straight away get the brick out for safety. Just in case you make a mistake, you accidentally bump a button. If the clicker's alerted, you can at least toss a brick and get in 1 stab. They take 2 bottles and 2 stabs to actually kill a clicker, or 2 headshots. Most of these sections just require patience, and timing. So the clicker's walking away here, so you just walk up behind it. The next time it goes to do an echolocation scream, it'll stop, so you pop up behind it again. Having said that, if you miss your moment or you feel like you're too far behind, you're not going to catch up, don't rush it, just wait. Most of the enemies do a loop anyway. Go and hide and wait for your moment again.
Make my skin crawl.
Another good habit to get into is reloading your weapons as soon as you pick up more ammunition. However, having said that, be aware of your surroundings. Certain enemies will hear you depending on their proximity to you, so be careful.
I'll make you a present. I'll take a present. Here. Thanks. Careful with that. I'm a pro.
Now I've seen a lot of people come unstuck in the supermarket here in this first little section. I wait for this runner on the right to take a few steps before grabbing the runner straight ahead. Otherwise you will get alerted by the runner in the next aisle. So just be a little patient and wait. Touching on what I mentioned before about enemies doing loops or patrols, this runner ahead of you with 2 clickers, one either side, do the same thing. They keep doing the same circular loop or patrol, if you will. Now the tricky thing about being patient with this game is that sometimes you have to wait for multiple enemies to sync up for your moment to kill one of them, or you get spotted by others or heard by others. So a lot of the strategies that I have developed that you will find and maybe use throughout the series of videos, some of them require the exact timing that I'm using. Others are a little more flexible and they're just more of a guide than an exact timing strategy. Now I'm sure I could get through the first hour of this game much quicker, but I don't want to use any items. So try to remember my strategy is about survival and maximising my items for later in the game, especially Santa Barbara. Again, you see here, I keep back about 1 meter or 3 feet. Wait till it stops. Then up into crouch, no more pushing forward on the stick. Just press triangle. Ellie does the rest. Now certain clickers in the game are a little more sensitive than others, and this is one of them that I've found to be a bit more sensitive, so I'm extra careful with this clicker because it can turn on you so quickly and it's really scary. So if I don't get it at this point, because it can turn towards you here, so if I can't kill it here, I wait until it walks off. There's no danger in changing any of the aspects of this particular area. Just wait until it stops. I've actually had this clicker completely turn to Ellie and do a full-blown alert scream in her face before she grabbed it. Freaked me out. Immediately head into the room here, because that runner will become mobile. You don't have to grab it, you can just press square and kill it. Now you just gather up the rest of the items that are lying around in various places. You can go around and check the bodies again, or go back and pick up any items that you didn't pick up from dead bodies, any drops. So now my crafting theory comes into play. I like to keep a balance of all of my items. So here, I craft a med kit because I don't have one. I have a Molotov and now a med kit. And the idea is to keep one of everything where possible, so that whatever situation arises, if you use an extra Molotov or you use an extra health kit, you can craft one. You don't find yourself stressed out because you've got no items left in your inventory or you're short in being able to craft something. So just bear that in mind when you're on your travels in the game. Now something I've come to notice also is if you craft all Molotovs, you may have trouble with health. So that's a fairly risky strategy. The game itself has certain items in certain locations that are fixed, whereas the amount of item will change. So depending on the difficulty level and depending on how many items you have in your inventory or how much of particular items you have will depend on how much the game gives you. So if you're stocked up on alcohol, it's only going to give you 1/4 of a bottle, whereas it might actually give you 3/4 of a bottle if you're lacking. Now the same thing tends to apply with ammunition, so I'll show you a few locations where I've stumbled upon ammunition and come back and been like, there's no ammo here, but there was here before, or am I going crazy? No, it's because I actually used less of that ammo and I had above a certain amount. So if you use all of your ammo, the game will give you ammo in certain locations for upcoming parts where there's battle.
That's better. Oh, wow.
Alright, so just a reminder,
Massive
do not
bench
upgrade
engine.
anything here. Our first
Could
upgrade
ride
is
a
in
gun
downtown
next to
Seattle. There's an outpost with a workbench there, and we upgrade the rifle scope and the barrel accuracy for school corridor. So there's a few different ways you can run here. You can follow mine or you can find your own path. I've found this way to be very consistent, no dramas. Now once I jump over the truck here, you'll see I hug the wall on the left to avoid this runner, so we don't get hit or grabbed. As close to the wall as possible and then swing right.
Yeah.
Where the hell did they all come from?
Doesn't matter. What does is where we going.
I reckon we go out the back. We can make a break for the lodge. We gotta warn everyone. Come back with a cleanup crew. God damn it! Fishes are everywhere!
So here, I tend to just run away, do a loop of the room, and come back to Joel and Tommy. They'll kill the infected for you. Try and keep all of the infected in the screen at any given time, or at least know where they are. Have an idea where they are so you don't run into them. My theory and strategy on this section is just to keep moving, but making sure that I'm as far away from the action as possible. And so you see I looped around and they took care of all the infected. Sometimes if you've got an infected on you, just run up to Tommy or Joel in that section, and most of the time they'll
Up there,
engage
the
with them.
window! That's our way out! You see a way up there? Here, use this! Hey, girl! Push it up onto the cart! We're getting inside! I'll get the gondola to the window! You two keep those infected! Okay!
Here in phase 2 is where you really need to pay attention to where the runners are. I tend to head towards Joel and try and let him kill them. I'm waiting for a runner to drop down and grab Tommy. Your major concern shortly will be that clicker. If you get grabbed by a runner, you're instantly dead if the clicker catches up to you, so I'm doing everything I can to keep moving and draw the infected away towards Tommy and Joel. Once Tommy gets grabbed, go straight for him. Doesn't matter if you have to run around the room a little bit to do so, but free him.
Stay behind there. You need me to take over? I got it. Just keep those infected away. Tommy, get it low. Just need another minute.
So the reason I avoid stopping and just hiding in a corner is because infected climb in the windows, they drop in from the ceiling, and I've been grabbed and killed before just hiding in a corner. One's appeared behind me and grabbed me. So just keep moving, keep checking around, keep looking behind you. Try not to sprint everywhere because you can draw more attention to yourself.
Come on.
Just wait for that. I got it, come on, and you're out of here.
Hurry! I got you. They're close to us.
Where are we going?
Alright,
It's this
so
way. Come
this
on.
here is the prologue for both Ellie and Abby completed. We'll
Head
see
for those
you in
doors.
downtown Seattle.
Through here, let's go!
And here we are in downtown Seattle. So pretty much all of this is in fast forward because there's not really a lot going on. There's one stop that we make that we don't even really need to make, but I tend to grab it here anyway. There's a map in a trailer. That's about the only stop until we get to the gate. And it's this stop here and this map in the drawer. Now, that map is part of the story and part of the stage of downtown Seattle, so you can collect it in a trailer, also in a different section, which is on the other side of the gate once you climb the wall. Okay, now there's a few parts here at the gate. You don't have to. I grabbed the hammer here. Bearing in mind, the hammer does not kill a clicker with one hit, so you need to remember that. However, I do use it for insurance in case I get trouble with a runner, something like that. And I end up using it in the courthouse, right at the final part of the courthouse before heading to the garage. But that's just for fun. It's mainly just for insurance in case you need to kill someone.
Dina, help me up here.
Okay.
Now, I know a lot of people have had fall deaths here and get a bit nervous, so I'll tell you what I do to get over here, and
keep an eye
it's
out.
no sweat.
Just see if you can get the gate
I
open
make
from
sure
the
that I'm
side.
standing still and just
Sounds
pointing
good.
in the direction that I need to be. Then I press jump and sprint at the same time. It's straightforward. I just jog along here, push forwards, jump and sprint. When I feel like I'm comfortable, Ellie's facing where I want to be. Now this one, I take a run up. There is an invisible barrier at the edge of the platform. It sort of stops you. When I hit that, that's when I hit sprint and jump.
I'm good. Just almost died.
Don't forget the parts up there. Now there's a commonly missed area here, and I'll show you how to access it. I'm going to show you where it is from up the top here. So I'll turn back around and look down. On top of that demountable building, there's a bunch of items up there. And I'll show you how to get there. But don't forget to grab the brick on the way past here. Bricks and bottles are a huge saviour in Grounded. Now, the window that I break here, on Ellie's right shoulder, there's another drawer where you can find the map if you don't stop at the demountable building back there. And this particular piece of paper is unmissable. It's story related. It has all of the codes on it. So you can refer to that, or you can watch these VODs again.
Oh, that's a generator.
I tend to have set routines in the way that I go through sections. That way I don't forget anything, overlook any items, or miss things. Such as throwing the electrical cord over the demountable straight away. We need to do that to get up on the roof. But I don't go and unlock the gate and then throw the cord over or anything like that. I keep a set routine, even in areas where it's not necessary, so that we're not doubling back and retraversing over ground we've already travelled. It saves time. Now this was annoying. I'm trying to show you how many parts are here, and it would not give me the context. There we go. Now that brings an important conversation to mind, which is sometimes Ellie will get near 2 points of context, and if you're not careful, she'll grab one rather than the other. So that's particularly dangerous when you want her to grab an enemy and there's a context action on a drawer or a door or a safe, something like that, she will access them instead, and they can change so quickly. So you might be just pressing the button to grab a runner or a clicker, and she'll open the drawer and you'll be alerted. So be extra careful with that. It has to do with where you're facing, where the camera is facing. So try to make sure that whatever you want to pick up or grab or interact with is central on the screen, and your distance away from it with Ellie is taken into account. So sometimes it's in my timings in strategies that I purposely grab someone at a certain time. A great example is the Serevena Hotel, and I'll get to that soon. Here's the gate code for our visually impaired friends, 0512.
Yes.
Well done!
Shit.
So I mentioned the Serevena Hotel and accidental context action. So when you get to the Serevena Hotel, an infected jumps the fence and we sneak up and kill that one straight away. Now the first infected inside the building moves around behind a counter where there's a drawer, and if your timing is not spot on, if you are too slow, Ellie will grab the drawer instead of the runner, which is annoying because that causes an alert straight away. Alright, welcome to downtown Seattle. There's many directions that you can go once you get into downtown. It's very open world. However, my strategy here is to be as quick as possible and to make sure that I'm unlocking all of the items. So I want those items to spawn. So for my upcoming strategies, I'm heading directly to the training manual and making sure that once I've upgraded the crafting and the melee, it will unlock the items around the stage that ordinarily wouldn't spawn if you haven't upgraded those items. So there's a few items we pick up here, some parts, some pills. Then we'll head down to the trucks. We'll pick up some alcohol, then jump across to the fire engine on the broken overpass. Then I'll show you where the training manual is.
Makes you think about the soldiers who were just doing their jobs and then boom. Part of the job, I guess.
In the shutter on the fire engine is a full axe. Now, after we complete the courthouse garage, we'll come back for that. So don't open the shutter now or it will disappear when you leave. Now, with the fire hose here, sometimes after you throw it, Ellie won't grab onto it. Some people like to pick it up and walk off the edge. I don't trust it, so I edge her towards it and then stop and press X. Walk a bit, stop and press X. If she doesn't pick it up, simply walk back and press triangle, pick it up and throw it over again. And then walk slowly back towards it and keep pressing X. Do not push forwards and press X at the same time. Ellie will jump. And unluckily, sometimes she will jump to her death. I've experienced this during a permadeath run.
Got it.
Horrible. So here we get some more pills and the training manual I mentioned. Now this is in 2 locations if you don't get it here. But we get it here so that we spawn the rest of the items once we do these upgrades. So grab the parts that are here and you'll see I upgrade faster crafting and upgraded melee weapons. And the following thing to unlock is once you pick up the stun bomb, the next item in line is crafting smoke bombs, and we will use that especially in Hillcrest.
looks that way. Wasn't Joel all about coffee? Kidding me? He'd trade half his
So
stuff
to
for
save a
bags
hit
of
on the
these.
hammer here,
I never got it.
get your brick or bottle ready. You should have a brick.
Shit.
And wait. If you aim around the chest area of this runner and wait until they make a move, it'll hit them and you can grab them. If you throw the brick too soon, the runner's still in the animation of coming out of the door and not in the actual play field yet. And you'll end up having to use like 2 or 3 hits on the hammer. So just wait until they move first.
You okay? Yeah.
So here's the key to the pet store, Barco's, which is where we'll find our stun bomb and a holster. Now as you're leaving here, try and keep it in your mind. Don't forget to grab the bottle on the way out. Alright, for our visually impaired friends, the safe code is 0451.
Oh shit. That was some good scavenging.
Now we should have enough to craft a Molotov, and we do that because we're about to pick up 3/4 alcohol. Again, I keep that balance between the items. We've got 2 medkits, so 2 Molotovs. And I'm only crafting that because I know we're going to pick up more alcohol in here. Otherwise I would leave it, again, so you keep 1 full crafting item in your inventory at all times.
Some kind of WLF something.
The scissors we're collecting here wouldn't be here if you didn't upgrade the skill for upgraded melee weapons. The canister's here because you're collecting the stun bomb here. But for example, if you went to the bank first, there's a canister on the end of the counter before the safety deposit room. And it would not be there until you've collected a stun bomb, which the stun bomb has an alternate location as well. Now, this is another reason why I make this one of my earliest stops in my journey. We upgrade the smoke bombs now, and we're about to collect a holster. There's also a trick here to get a long arm holster, and I'll share that in another video with you. I actually prefer to have the short arm holster here. I tend to swap the pistols more throughout my strategies up until Hillcrest. And I only use the rifle really in the school. The rest of the time I have the shotgun in the long arm place in the weapon cross.
You could just goof off.
Again here,
Instruments.
the tape or binding wouldn't be here if you hadn't done the upgraded melee weapons.
I mean, I could definitely figure it out. They got a bunch of records.
So as I mentioned before, we upgrade the rifle here. We take the scope, which is the first thing I upgrade pretty much in every weapon that you acquire. And I also upgrade the accuracy. There's nothing more frustrating than missing your target because the rifle itself is inaccurate. Maybe not where you're aiming. It's just not hitting the mark. Don't forget to reload your weapons after accessing any workbench. For whatever reason, sometimes they are loaded, sometimes they're not loaded, especially if you upgrade capacity or something like that. Just get into the habit of reloading your weapons immediately.
Fuel distribution.
There's a little secret to this area, and I mentioned a bit about it before, but I'll show you in another video.
Food shortages. Hungry people get desperate.
This part is pretty straightforward. I go straight through the grass as soon as I can to get to that first runner. You can wait, you can lie down in the grass and just wait until they come to you, and then they'll pause for a bit, then they'll turn back and walk. You can get them sooner. In fact, you can actually sprint through this area, and once you get over the wall, you can sprint through that area and climb the fire escape straight away. Even if Dina gets grabbed, once you jump through the window at the top, it eliminates that and just lets Dina go. She appears inside the synagogue with you. Now, I prefer to kill these infected because occasionally they drop items which can actually help your inventory, but it's not entirely necessary. However, it is necessary to prone dive through this next section in order to get to cover sooner. So pressing sprint and circle at the same time will make Ellie do this, a prone dive. You just repeat that. A word of advice with prone diving. Sometimes enemies will hear you prone dive. There is a trick to doing a silent prone dive. It's quite a difficult maneuver, and I think it depends a lot on the ground that you're prone diving on. Now, should you get an alert here, don't forget you can always just turn and sprint straight for that fire escape over Ellie's left shoulder there, and just climb up and get through the window as quick as you can.
Hey, Ellie. This place is a synagogue.
This place brings back a lot of memories. My sister used to drag me to a synagogue all the time. Okay. Probably why. She just got more and more paranoid.
Alright, now we're on our way to the bank to go and get the shotgun. I find it interesting that you get shotgun shells here, whereas if you went to the courthouse first,
Never
There's
seen
shotgun ammo in the room where you start, and that wouldn't be there if you don't have the shotgun. Okay, so here we are at the bank. Now my strategy here is pretty straightforward. Make sure you check everything's locked and loaded, it should be. I do a full sprint and jump into cover straight off the bat here, and then straight into prone. Now the trick is to get behind that counter the clicker's walking past now, and be ready to grab that first runner. If you just simply follow my timings here, it should be fine, and I'll point out what you need to be looking for to avoid an alert. But should you get an alert, simply run back out of the bank where you came in, climb back up, and wait until they all calm down again. Now don't kill this runner straight away, drag them in towards the counter here so that the runner on the right and the clicker doesn't spot you. Straight back into prone and wait at the edge of the counter here. Now this clicker can be tricky. Sometimes they'll come all the way to that grey concrete pillar and will scream again. They don't just walk past, so be ready to move away. That's why I stay in prone. Ultimately, you want to be in crouch at the edge of the wall there, so you can start spamming triangle to grab the clicker as it comes past. Just like that. Unfortunately, the timings of the patrols, we've just missed this runner. That's just the way it happens every time, so we have to sit here and wait about 30 seconds until it comes back. I mean, you can go and chase that runner down and kill it straight away. However, I've noticed through repetition that it changes the RNG of the clicker that's out in the main area, so it's not worth it. It's easier just to wait and grab it now. Now I think the trickiest thing about clickers is that they can change the direction of their echolocation scream. They can pivot based on where you are, so it's really tricky to get your timings about when you start to move on it and when you wait. If you move too soon, the game changes and the clicker will start to pivot towards you and can easily spot you, causing an alert. However, when you grab this one, Dina should take care of the stationary runner behind the pillar. If you look to the right, you'll see a scurry over there. That's why I use this routine, so it's one less runner that I have to kill. Don't forget to check the bodies for dropped items, your looting, and the canister here is what I was talking about earlier, that if you don't grab the stun bomb, that won't be there.
What's with the body armor? They don't look like soldiers. Yeah. Not sure. Where are we?
You think this is the bank?
Looks like a bank. Ooh. Fancy schmancy.
Now we're at the safe, and for our visually impaired friends, the combination is 602306. So this is the earliest point in the game you can get the shotgun. I think the reward far outweighs the risk, otherwise you don't get it until much later in the game. There's also some shotgun ammo here, and I'll show you the trick to getting this to spawn. It should be right here on the counter, but it's not. Don't know why. However, I'm going to show you now how to make that spawn once we deal with these two infected. Now you can actually sprint out of here and climb up and leave and go away to another area, and these two will despawn. However, again, I like to kill these earlier enemies in the hopes that you get item drops, just to bolster your inventory for later on. Here is another little patience area where you had to wait for a bit. You want to wait till that clicker walks past and stay where I did to avoid fighting Dina here for this place on the wall. Now I'm spamming triangle now. As soon as the clicker comes past, Ellie will even lunge around the corner and grab it. It's really bizarre. So now we're going to leave, but only momentarily. Don't forget the pistol ammo on your way out. This is where I'm going to show you how we get the shotgun ammo to magically spawn within the bank. It should have been there before, but for whatever reason, it's not. Until you leave right away and come back. And that pole is the minimum distance required. Voila. Magically spawned shotgun ammo. Now it's time to go and do the courthouse. Now, if you had an alert during the bank, this is my first stop to pick up another brick should you have used the bottle that you were carrying. It's right there in the corner. Let's get an arrow on that. There we go. There's also a bottle behind us at Tommy's campfire, a bottle above us on the top floor, and there is another bottle over here on the broken overpass where I'm now looking. I find the brick is the easiest one to grab. On your way, saves time. So here we are at the courthouse. Now, immediately, when you get inside, behind one of the chairs or pews, if you want to call it that, there is shotgun ammo. Now, do not reload the shotgun when you get that fourth ammo. It will alert the clicker. It'll be a soft alert and they'll come over for a look. So just avoid it. I'll show you when to load it, when it's safest. Also, something worth noting is that if you do not go to the bank and get the shotgun, this ammo is not here. Another one of the many reasons why I have a set routine to the way I go about Seattle downtown. Now there's one other thing to be really mindful of here. Do not get too close to the counter where I'm hiding behind. If you get up against it, I don't know why, it's graphics clipping, it'll alert the clicker. So that's why I stay away, whereas Dina's right up against it. I found every time I got too close to the counter, the clicker just goes berserk. So stay 1 meter, 3 feet away, out of crouch, spamming triangle, and there's your instant clicker killer every time. Now we reload the shotgun and get the bottle ready. There's many ways to get through the courthouse. This is just the one that I find the most effective, and again, I kill all of them because I want the items should they drop some. Every 1 in 5 runs I've found will be item heavy. However, that comes at a cost too. In all of the permadeath runs that I've done, the ones that are item heavy seem to have altered RNG as well, so I end up having to kill more than I normally would, use more items than I normally would, so it balances out. It's kind of cheeky that way. The game giveth, the game taketh away. Speaking of which, thank you for the explosive. Yoink! Based purely on odds, I've worked out that it's around about every 10 to 12 kills has a drop. And that's completely random as well. Now this clicker is another one that's particularly sensitive, as I mentioned back in the supermarket. It, for some reason, will turn and pivot to scream towards you, and also it's more sensitive when you're trying to grab it, so I try and make sure that it's actually stationary. You'll notice also that I take a wide route. I push out to the right-hand side wall, because otherwise it can turn like it is now. It's turning a bit, and there's an alert. So just be patient with it. This is also another section where you don't have to kill this clicker here. You don't have to kill the other two runners either. You can wait until the clicker moves towards that runner over there and then just exit. Open the door and exit. But this is fun as well. You still want to have a bit of fun. Especially with the last runner inside the next room. I like to brick it and smash it with a hammer. Simply because I get a melee weapon down in the next level. Shut up. This runner also is the one that's most likely to drop something for you. And the one in the doorway that just gave us the explosive. They're the ones that I've found most likely drop items. Don't forget the bottle. Now, this also is an alternate location for something else. Again, I will put out another video that shows you that. Check your items just in case you did get a few extra drops from the kills. And craft accordingly. I would craft a med kit to be on the safe side if you had extra items. Now, here on the board is where you find the safe code, just in case you forgot.
This might come in handy.
And again, for our visually impaired friends, the safe code is 860722.
Oh shit.
Now, I have seen people die here, so be sure to wait for that X and be careful when jumping over. There's nothing more frustrating than dying in a permadeath run over stupid things. So, once we get through the door here, I purposely hold off and wait behind Dina for about 2 seconds or so, just to let the runner come towards us more. Then I run off. And I do that purposely because the first encounter, the first enemy I want to encounter, I want to be the clicker. Get rid of the clickers straight away. Get your bottle in hand and run. And I'm dragging that runner away and the clicker over here as well. Give some space. And it leaves us in a perfect location to grab the next brick. So dodge that one, throw, kill, and head straight for the next brick on the police car. Now let Dina do her job here. She'll fight around with them. Sometimes she gets grabbed, and that's what I want. I want her to get grabbed so one runner breaks away from her. And perfect, just as I wanted, she gets grabbed. Now, one runner is actually taken away from the fight, so you can kill it without using another brick. Again, I run over here and grab the scissors, but also to drag out the time and wait for the next infected to drop in. One comes from the center of the room, one comes from the back of the room, and I want them over here so I can go for that clicker straight away.
Move it!
Once you get rid of the clicker, the runners are pretty easy to dodge. Bang. Now, you can run around and wait for Dina to kill this runner, or you can go up and help. You risk getting hit. I hate wasting energy, like life here. I hate getting hit and having to use a med kit. So just let it do a job.
Here.
So I use the brick and bottle technique to stretch out the life of the melee weapon. They're one-hit kills when you do it correctly. If you just try and run up to an infected and start swinging, it can take 3 hits off a melee weapon. Don't forget to grab the brick as you're leaving. So now, as I mentioned before, is where there's a full axe.
Check this
So
out.
when we're leaving the area, now we leave with a full melee weapon.
There we go.
And again, be careful with the fire hose here. If Ellie doesn't grab it straight away, pick it up again and rethrow it. Then slowly walk up until the X appears,
I'll be
stand
right back.
still and press X.
Sure.
You don't want to be pushing forward on the left stick and pressing X. It will make her leap. Fun and frustrating fact, I have actually died in a permadeath run. I was going stellar as well, and I died right there as we were about to go to the Serevena because I pushed forward too aggressively on the stick and pressed X at the same time. To my amazement, she plummeted to her death. Alright, so here we are back at the Fuckfedra gate, or East 2 gate. And for our visually impaired friends, the combination for the gate is 5345.
It worked.
Well, no welcoming committee.
Or they're just waiting for us.
Now here we are at the Serevena. Now, I do try and ride the horse as hard as I can up to the corner where the bin is here and get after that infected fairly quickly. Not too quick or it causes weird RNG. However, get over into crouch. Careful, she'll stand up there. Get straight over to this infected. Hopefully you can get it before it reaches the door. If not, it doesn't matter, and sometimes it'll disappear. It's bizarre. The runner just vanishes. So once you kill this runner, hopefully you're in good timing to get straight around the left corner of the door. There's a runner with a backpack we want to try and get straight away. If not, wait another rotation. It doesn't matter. You hide in prone at the window here and wait for it to come back to the pillar. You don't want to go after this runner we're going after now. If you're too far behind, it'll get past the drawer inside the counter, and instead of grabbing the runner, which we need to time here, now, so the runner on the left in the other room doesn't see you. If you don't time this right, Ellie will grab the drawer instead of the runner, and that'll cause an alert instantly. We don't want that. Now keep watching this runner in the room. You should be able to go straight up behind it all the way here. It doesn't turn around until it gets to the back of the room and waits for about 5 seconds. In case you're wondering, I chose the pistol because I want to save the brick for the school. The 2 runners on the right won't see you. And it's totally random here, those 2 runners, which way they stand up and walk. I have not been able to find a way to get it to be consistent in the direction they run. Now we get spotted here, that's fine. You have a few options. I run. That's my first option. Purposely, just to save all of my items. So, my first option, run, hide, see if we can lose them. Then, when they calm down, try and pick them off with stealth. If not, if you can't seem to shake them, then use your axe. You do get a pipe inside that's blocking a doorway, and hopefully you only have to use a couple of hits on the axe and save 3 or 4. I like to keep the axe completely intact for the school and Capitol Hill. Now, a little trick here I mentioned earlier is that if you take the pistol, you can swing the melee weapon. That'll be Ellie's first response. If you have a brick or a bottle in hand, she'll smash them in the face with it, and you don't want that. You want to save your brick or your bottle here, whichever you've got, for the school, just in case.
Okay. That's that.
Now, we still have a full axe here, but it's a good habit to get into when you come across another melee weapon is to swap them and check how many hits left if you've had any encounters and you're uncertain. Sometimes you can strike someone twice and it counts as 1 hit, or 3 times and it counts as 3 hits. Sometimes it'll only count as 2 hits. So always swap them over and check it out and see how many hits you've got left on that particular weapon.
Come on. We can get out this way. Maybe catch up with Tommy.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I jump down here, this is where I prepare myself for the school encounter. I swap out the shotgun for the rifle. Simply because I'm going to use the rifle in the corridor, and if something goes bad with the first pair of enemies you encounter, you can simply throw a brick at one of them.
It wasn't pretty. I don't want you to think bad of Tommy. Ellie.
Alright, so here we are now at the school, and as soon as you start this next encounter, you need to immediately move over to the left-hand side in the prone position. I do a prone dive straight away, and I flip to the revolver. Do a shoulder swap, and keep the target reticle on the drawer of the filing cabinet. If you put it past onto the background where she is, she will spot you. As long as you keep that reticle trained on the drawer, you can easily slide yourself out a little bit and headshot her. Now, I don't aim at her. I make Ellie move out a little bit. I just touch the stick to get her to slide out, and the reticle stays where it is.
Enough. We gotta get the hell out of here.
This bit is self-explanatory. Smash the windows in case things go bad in the hall, which usually happens. It's much safer to just run straight back down the hall here, which is why we have the rifle and the accuracy. Now with the Molotov, we're specifically aiming at a certain spot on the corner of the shadow there, where the light's coming through the door, and timing is crucial. Now I waited too long to shoot this guy. I could have easily shot him sooner, or waited a little bit longer until he stopped. Now we run back so we don't get flanked. And this is where your accuracy comes into play. Aim a little bit above their heads for bullet drop. I don't know why there is bullet drop in such a short distance, but there is. So you'll see I aim a bit above his head. Now there's only one enemy remaining, and they're usually hiding up the back left behind where the teacher would sit in the library. So now we swap out to the shotgun again, and we make our way down to the first cover in the hallway, and you just gotta wait it out. I take precautions here because you never know, the game can throw twisted RNG at you. And you try and grab the corner there, or you'll end up having to fight Dina. And Dina's normally your indicator as to where that enemy is, where she's hiding. If Dina hides on the right, one of them's gone over into the right-hand side classrooms. So you keep checking anyway. It's just better to be safe than sorry. Now you can see the subtitles, so that last soldier is now active and they'll start searching for you. There you go, you can see them now. Now you can stealth it up behind them depending on which way they move, or you can just throw the brick in their face, grab them and knife them. Because there's a bottle on the desk again at the back of the room where the teacher would be sitting in the library. Right there.
You good?
Yeah. You recognize any of these guys?
No.
So I slow down a little bit up here just to show you where the bottle is in the next room on the counter. Marked with the arrow there, right there on the counter. We don't need it this time. Timing is fairly critical here for the first 3 enemies. You want to get as quick as you can behind this wall and just wait for the first guy to come around. Once you take him out, you need to move immediately to get the next woman. Get yourself in position. Especially because Dina should kill the 3rd person that's inside the classroom. Now when I grab her, I like to move back with her in a straight line so you don't get pushed by Dina. And keep an eye on that one in the classroom. Just wait a few seconds and then kill. Hopefully Dina does her job. This time she did. As always, get your brick out straight away. And move to that post in the corner. And that's where we wait most of the time here for the right moment to pick people off. Now, this is where I can retreat if anything goes wrong, or if I'm not comfortable if they're walking towards me. I come and hide here and they don't spot me. Now, one should always come across to the grass where we are now and walk diagonally across to a box where we just took out that lady. We're going to take out another one there straight away. Again, this is a patience area, and this timing here with her is critical. You need to grab her when she just starts to walk again after stopping for a look here. Just like that. Stay in cover. Then you get your brick out again and go straight back to the pillar. Now you want to try and keep both these people in the frame at any given time if you can, because it's really easy to lose one of them here. Now, if you just be patient, it's easy. They'll separate from each other. It's easy to go behind a structure and just pick one of them off in stealth. Hopefully Dina gets the last one. Otherwise, you can throw the brick at them and grab them, or you can just stealth it up behind them and kill them. Now, I keep moving around in the grass, just trying to alter and manipulate their search patterns. If you stay in the one place, they seem to converge on you, so if you keep moving, keep checking, keep trying to keep both of them in the frame at once, a moment will present itself. Alright, so I see an opportunity appearing here with one walking inside the classroom. This one's out in the open, but I know I can grab him and drag him into cover here.
Don't.
Ordinarily, I try and wait until they come back around that same box. But if you see an opportunity, take it. Just be careful because they will turn back in certain places where they would walk. So one might walk around the box here, but sometimes they won't actually go around the box. They'll look like they're about to start walking and they'll turn back. Very cheeky. And just a reminder, this for me is a permadeath run, not a speed run, so I have no problems about waiting it out patiently for the right moment to arise where I can take them out. Sometimes I don't care, like this guy messes me around, so I throw a brick at him and then just collect the bottle in the classroom on my way out. But I only do that because he's the last enemy. Now don't forget to pick up the bottle if you have thrown the brick.
There's a lot of them.
You will need it for the runner in Capitol Hill. Now here's a funny little disclaimer for you. I was ahead of myself here. I ordinarily wouldn't craft anything yet because I'm still a quarter short with alcohol. However, I know I've got full rag and I know that I can get through this particular area in complete stealth without any encounter, and I'm going to pick up rags before leaving the school, so I took a chance and did it. However, I'd advise not to do that if you don't feel confident.
Here.
So you'll notice I grab all of the items by holding triangle to pick them all up at once and then get straight underneath that solar panel. I wait here right at the end for the verbal cue from the enemies of cover this roof. Then I start crawling straight away.
You seen anything?
No.
Cover this roof. I'll check over here.
Now, when I'm half out
sure she's
from
not on the
underneath
streets?
this solar panel,
How would she get down there?
I turn and face the door with the camera and then do 4 prone dives. Should get me to the door perfectly enough to crouch and open the door and get through. Keep watching the subtitles in this section here to realise whether you've been spotted or not. It's the best way to find out if they've maybe spotted something, a soft alert. Otherwise you have to hide behind the door and then it can become a kill-all. Now here's the cloth that I mentioned earlier, which is why I crafted that Molotov. I'd rather miss a quarter of a cloth than craft something, get in trouble and not be able to make another med kit.
What about this?
Alright, that's it for Eastbrook Elementary. Now we're on to Capitol Hill. Welcome to Capitol Hill. This starts with a whole bunch of looting. So we're just going to plod around and grab some items.
We need to get to the street.
I do like to check my items frequently based on drops that I've picked up and things like that, but at this point we're not crafting or upgrading anything at the moment.
You good?
Yeah. I thought I was fucked back there. Thanks for the save, by the way.
Of course.
I wonder if there's anything left in these buildings.
There's always something left behind.
So, those are the wolves. They're really armed.
Yeah, they are. Do you think there were gonna be this many of them?
Tommy said this was a possibility.
Does that change anything for you?
No?
So this next encounter with this infected, you'll notice Ellie grabs the pistol straight away. I wait till she grabs the pistol, then I change to the bottle and proceed up the stairs. So you can just bottle and grab the runner.
Got him?
Yeah,
Shit. Oh, my heart's racing.
same.
Again here you'll notice instantly I reload whenever I pick up new ammunition. It's just a force of habit now.
These people are not like us.
What if we've been refugees? What if we, I don't know, had intel that we did?
It doesn't seem like they care about that.
Something keeps bugging me.
Don't forget to grab this bottle to replace the one you used on the infected.
I don't know.
Seems reckless.
Maybe they're dumb.
Maybe. What are you doing with that?
I'll be back in a sec.
I'll keep watch.
Okay, so here we find the trap mine. Now, as I've mentioned with certain items and training manuals and stuff, pickups like weapons, they have alternate locations. If you miss them, you can acquire them later. I will show you in another video where the trap mine is found if you do not acquire it here. Now, by this stage in the run,
Yeah.
I've picked up the trap mine. I can usually craft another trap mine immediately, just to free up space in the inventory. I also know that I'm not going to craft any more smoke bombs or trap mines at this stage, so it doesn't matter if I'm under in those items.
She the one with the braid?
No. Only thing I remember about her was the sound of her crying over that sadistic fuck's face when I sliced him open.
I can still kind of see the buildings. How do you want to go?
So there's a few ways
Let's
through
see.
Capitol Hill. I use a stealth strategy here where timing and prone diving is fairly important. There's also a training manual that we skip over here, and I'll show you that location, but you'll see in this video where we get it in the secondary location. Now with these people, I'm waiting for the guy on the roof, and I'm waiting for the pipe lady that comes out on the corner. I'll wait until she looks at me, she'll walk away and then do a half turn look back, That's when I make my move. There's also 2 other guys out the back of the dry cleaners as well, but if you follow these timings, they shouldn't even come into play. Sometimes a conversation will start now, other times it'll start once we start moving. It's a good idea to keep an eye on the subtitles, make sure that they're just having normal conversation and that there's no soft alert or anything. Now there's no rest for the wicked in this little bit. As soon as you get here, the pair in the background start moving. I don't think they see you here at all, so I just make my way straight down the stairs. As soon as we get into the supermarket here, there's an infected, so you need to be in the crouch. And we take care of that runner straight away. Now there's also a clicker in here and 2 other runners, so you need to be in stealth the whole time. Just a quick reminder to you all, I had to practice these strategies over and over again, so if it doesn't work for you first time, it's not broken, just practice and try and work on getting the timings the same way I have and what to look out for in order to adapt. We have to wait for the clicker to move far enough away so when we come out of prone into crouch, the clicker's not going to hear something and then investigate. I have been alerted and had to do a kill all from this runner here. For some reason, Ellie didn't want to grab it. So I wait an extra second or 2 now. So I can pop up into crouch before moving around the corner so the clicker doesn't hear me. Alright, careful with this ammo here. As you can see, Ellie did not want to pick it up. And you're on the clock here, so you've got to be quick and gather up these items and then get back into the prone position behind the wall, behind the shelving unit here, before the clicker returns. Now here is where the timing starts to become vital. So I'm waiting for that clicker to come out, do another scream, turn around and walk back. Then I'm going to try and stay as close to it as possible without alerting it. And crawl straight through the hallway behind it. You need to follow these timings fairly precisely, and I'll be showing you what to look for and who to be watching. So there's a pair of ladies on your right hand side that start a conversation. I start to prone as soon as I'm clear of the shutter. Should get about 4 in here before the fence. You need to be careful of the fence, you can get caught on it. Don't stand up too soon before you get in the grass. Keep an eye on the subtitles for the conversation between the ladies. If you see I've got movement, just keep moving into the kitchen here. Now in the kitchen, we're going to have to fight Dina for this little corner of the bench. I tend to stick to the left-hand side. We're waiting for the 2 guys to come down the stairs on the right. And it's the second guy we're most worried about. This fellow. He can see us. Now you'll see Dina starts trying to push me out of the way the more I get to the right-hand side of the wall. And she starts pushing me out of cover. Listen for the Jesus Christ to make you move up the stairs. Now I pan the camera around to keep an eye on the guy at the door because sometimes he can be turning. And again, keep an eye on subtitles. They'll give you the best indicator of I've got movement or something. But occasionally they don't say anything. They just start heading towards you. Watch this guy at the end who walks past. And I shoulder swap here with the brick so I can see further around the corner. Another little trick. And you've got to watch this guy, don't go out too far. As soon as he stands to the window, you can make your way underneath the window behind him. Thanks, Dina. Again, hold the aim to see around the corner in the shoulder swap. Be careful you don't accidentally bump the R2 button. It's happened to me. You throw the bottle in the wall. Now, if you get an alert here and you jump over the edge, 2 people will follow you down. And you will have very little place to hide. So you'll have to do your best. I recommend trying to use the pistols. Save your ammo for everything else. So that's Capitol Hill. Now we're on our way to the television station, Channel 13. And through the trip mines first. So, welcome to the trip mines in Channel
Done all this
13.
without you.
Oh shit!
What the fuck was that?
With the two runners
Ran
in the
into a trap.
background, I do a little circle sprint here
Lots of traps.
to attract them and stay left so that they both run into that tripwire. If they don't, if they separate, one hits the tripwire and the other one stays around, immediately head to the right
Okay.
so that it will run through the opposite tripwire. There's other bottles there if you have to, just bottle and grab if you can, or bottle and melee. It doesn't actually matter if you melee, because we're about to get another axe in Channel 13. Ooh, canister. So if you've used all your rifle ammo in the school, there should be some here on the counter. I left this playing in normal speed in
Stop.
case you forget the safe way through the tripwires.
Thanks.
They're all over.
Probably for infected.
So you don't need to use ammo or melee here. If you select the pistol and press square, you can just squash this clicker's head.
Yeah. Yeah.
For our visually impaired friends, the safe code here is 550133.
Oh shit.
Of course, if you forget the safe code, you can always watch this VOD again. Otherwise, if you go into the other room here where I'm about to show you, and almost forgot to, the safe code is the phone number that's written on the wall, which you discover when you find a note. It's there, 550133. Saves you the trouble of figuring out the puzzle from the note.
They've really got this area covered.
Probably don't cut through here much.
Just
with
so
all
you
this.
know, what I'm doing here is a bit of fun. I like to try and break the glass and set off the tripwire in one throw. You can just break the glass and climb through the window, or you can actually just blow up
Smart.
the tripwire and run
That
through
works.
the grass.
Yeah.
Now comes the upgrade.
Joel do this.
I upgrade the shotgun capacity here. And I don't do any other upgrades for a while. The shotgun capacity was always something I was going to upgrade, but this comes in particularly handy when you're in the second Shambler room or the third section of the tunnels. Or any other encounter where you may have had an alert. As always, reload now so you don't get stuck in a battle with an unloaded weapon. Don't forget the brick. Also, don't forget if you've missed the trip wire when you threw the bottle through the
Feel
window.
her love.
Don't go running through it and end your permadeath run right there.
You think she's related to the
I've seen it happen. It's not pretty.
It's kind of fun.
Checking my items here, I normally craft another trap mine way back when I pick up the first trap mine. Again, looking for that balance of items. Now, I know I'm going to use a trap mine in the television station. I also know that I'm going to pick up some more alcohol, 3/4 of a bottle. I get some rag just in front of us here, so there we go. We have the one item left in the inventory for crafting should the emergency arise. So remember, I've only done that because I know there is no encounters where I might be forced to use any items. That's the only reason. Okay, that's the tripwires over. So now we go on to channel 13.
Buy it. You see a way in?
If you've had any alerts or encounters and you've used your melee, again, here's a good place to check and swap. I've not used this axe at all. Of course, I'll carry that with me. You can still recover with my strategies here if things go sideways. It's kind of the way I've ended up developing these strategies. We'll talk more about that in a moment. For now, I get out my trap mine, ready to go. Now I'm looking for a specific leaf on the floor. When I go and place this trap mine on the door, there's a group of WLF are going to come through once we start to leave after the cutscene upstairs. And this preempts them. There's a curly leaf. I try and put the trap mine right on that. Just like that. That makes leaving the television station a whole lot easier.
I hope not.
Now, back to what I was saying before. So there's many things that I'm crafting and holding in my inventory that are mostly part of contingency plans in case things do go wrong. So some of these things I never end up using, and by the time we get to Ellie day 3, you're starting to max on items. But I think the main objective here is to maximize your items for Santa Barbara.
I don't like this. We're too exposed. We have to search all of it. I want to find Leah.
Just
So there's nothing in that room at all. However, there is a shotgun here, which we're collecting ammo. We got the shotgun in the bank. This is the alternative location for the shotgun if you miss it in the bank.
What is that?
This is the alternative location for the training manual that we missed in Capitol Hill. Now immediately when I get this training manual, I'm looking to upgrade the silencers just to get to the faster prone movement. And I upgrade that straight away. We will use that in the tunnels. I need to craft or upgrade anything else now for a while. And if you've used all of your revolver ammo, there should be some there. Alright, so once we drop down here, that bomb is going to be triggered, and one guy will come running out. Stay left in the window frame here and try and crouch straight away. I stay left until I see that he's gone left, and I drop down when he's behind the wall. I stay in cover the whole time. If he does see you and you're alerted, stay in cover, then brick him. There's another brick on the ground here. Now this next section which is the chase, I guess you call it, from the television station to the tunnels, it's totally random whether you get shot or not, and quite frustrating. Sometimes you'll make it through, but again, it's one of those things that we've prepared for. So we have 3 med kits. We can heal when we get to the tunnels.
We've got them!
Oh, fuck! Dina! We gotta run!
Trespassers over there! Are they with the guard? I fucking know, just shoot them!
We gotta lose them!
Dead ahead!
And this is Channel 13, over. Welcome to the tunnels. Now we know we were hit twice, so we'll heal. If you don't remember whether you were hit or not, try and heal anyway. And if you have full health, Ellie will put the bandage away and pull out a weapon. So you just want to try and heal anyway, just to make sure that you're not coming in here with already damaged health. Because this section you can get shot. Now, in this section, when I do get shot, I do not react. I certainly do not fire my weapon. Every shot they fire draws clickers to them. Perfect. So immediately shoulder swap with the brick and aim for the right hand side of the fallen vending machine. Be careful not to hit the thing hanging from the ceiling. Now I aim there and throw the brick to draw the clickers to the WLF, and that pushes them to the other side of the train station. We're now going to go through the door here and pick up some ammo. Stay away from the left wall because Ellie can get stuck and do a sideways prone dive on it. So there's rifle ammo here and pistol ammo. That's what we're going for. Once I'm hiding behind this desk, I wait a moment sometimes, depending on what I can hear. If I see flashlights, I'll lie down and just wait. The clickers will keep following them around. So throughout this whole strategy, it's a little bit of ad-lib, but most of the time the clickers are just chasing around after the WLF. Pay attention to the subtitles and flashlights, what you can hear in your surroundings. Ultimately, it's pretty straightforward here. I can usually just grab this alcohol and jog through like I'm doing now. And that's the first section of the tunnels over.
This way's blocked.
Now, just in case you forget, this is the last point where you can upgrade your faster prone movement before actually needing it as part of a strategy. So this is pretty straightforward. However, again, it's another place where your timings can be fairly critical. So if you follow the timings here, you should get through here unscathed. I'm going to tell you what to look for, or what I'm looking for, when I start moving and why.
Where the hell do Shamblers come from? I don't fucking know, but they're disgusting.
So I'm waiting for this Shambler here, and I stay in the crouch position in cover purposely, because lying down into the prone position makes you more exposed and makes it more difficult to hide from this particular Shambler. As soon as the Shambler walks away, I start to follow it. And if you're wondering why my flashlight's off, it's harder to see when you're playing the game with the flashlight on than it is to leave it off. Now wait for the Shambler to scream and then start moving behind it immediately. And stay left of it just to give yourself distance. Now immediately looking for the Shambler on the right here around the corner and a runner on the other side of the panels here. Now, when we start to move forward, keep an eye on this runner and stay back behind the panels. follow it into the control room and wait for it to turn around. The next thing you're watching for is the other runner that's going to trigger in the red light room in the background there. Hopefully, if you get the timings right and the RNG gods are in your side, Dina will grab that runner. In this occasion, she doesn't, so I get out my brick and I shoulder swap so I can see around the corner. So you can get spotted by that runner if you're not careful. Again, another developed strategy from trial and error. But once you kill this runner, you're basically just going to sit there and wait until that Shambler is far enough away for you to open the roller shutter. There's no items in here to collect. And so in the meantime, let the magic of cinematography begin. Now keep an eye on the target reticle, it'll jump over to the Shambler once it walks through. Now we're just waiting for it to scream and walk a little bit further, and we'll turn around, grab the chain and get the hell out of here.
Watch it! Move! Go!
That's the end of what I call the second section of the tunnels, or the first
Fuck these
Shambler room.
assholes. They get you? No, I'm clean. Shamblers? Is that what they called them? Yeah. Where the hell do Shamblers come from? I don't fucking know. But they're disgusting.
Okay, the door code for our visually impaired friends is
Shit.
15
Needs a combination.
243.
Yes.
How'd you do that?
Magic.
You're my favorite.
If for whatever reason you've used all of your pistol ammo or have very little, you'll find some here, but only if you're almost out or completely empty. This is what I call the third section of the tunnels, or the second Shambler room. My strategy for this third section here requires a trap mine. It's a kill-all. There is a stealth strategy here, but I find this very consistent. So I'll place the trap mine on the edge of the cage here, jump back in the pit, and I'm aiming with the brick or bottle at the inside of the door frame. Right there. Now, that should get all of their attention. Then I'm aiming the Molotov to just land in the middle of the group, hopefully burn most of the runners and heavily damage the Shamblers. Now, I want my pistol or my revolver to stop any runners that might run towards the trap mine, triggering it before the Shamblers get to it. Then I grab my shotgun just to protect myself. Now, if all goes according to plan, I don't need to use the shotgun. The trap mine takes care of what's left of the runners and the Shamblers at the same time. But you got to run around a bit and make some noise and be prepared to maybe even shoot a runner to get the Shamblers' attention and prevent the runners from advancing on your trap mine, triggering it early. So that's the third section of the tunnels down. Now don't forget to grab this bottle if for whatever reason you don't have one. There's some in the theatre anyway. Now we pick up these pills, and this comes our next upgrade in the skills tree. Now I know that Hillcrest is coming up, so I want to be able to maximize my items. So I immediately upgrade the silencer here, and then immediately craft a silencer. So now you've got a 4-shot silencer, which we'll probably barely use if we use it at all. Do not craft a med kit because we'll pick up a full one. Craft a Molotov, and don't upgrade your melee weapon yet. Wait until you're out of the tunnels before we do that.
Jesus.
Also, if you need to, you can craft another trap mine to maximize your canister, because we will pick up some under a train.
Thank you.
Then after the final section of the tunnels, we will upgrade that melee weapon, giving us a full 6 hits in Hillcrest.
Dina?
The reason I don't upgrade it until then is because we use it on the runner that grabs Dina on the exit of the tunnels. Now, I used to throw a bottle at the runner to save everything. However, it's linked to a glitch where the runner that grabs you at the top of the stairs can just disappear, and then you are stuck on the spot until a clicker grabs you, and that's the end of your permadeath run. So I stopped doing that and developed this strategy with the melee weapon. And now the fourth and final section of the tunnels, the escape. So as this next section begins, you'll notice that I quickly flip to the pistol. That's so that Ellie grabs the axe rather than the brick or the bottle when I press square to execute a melee attack. This is the runner that I mentioned that I used to bottle, so don't throw a projectile like a bottle or a brick at it, because as we get to the top of the stairs here, the runner that grabs you now is the one that disappears.
This way! Hurry! Fuck!
Now once we're over the fence here, there's 2 ways to do this. You can go back and dodge the runner, or just try and run sideways straight away. Last thing you want is to get hit and grabbed here. Alright, so now we're officially out of the tunnels. This is somewhat the end of Ellie Day 1, but stick around. I have a few more things to show you here in the theatre. So there's a few items, and I'll show you where I gather them up and what I craft. Also, there's a secret part when we return to the theatre after the birthday gift, and I've included that in this video, so we'll start Ellie Day 2 from Hillcrest, which is my next video.
Did you keep something like that?
And the start of Hillcrest actually has quite a lot of items, so we can craft the trap mine, and as I mentioned, we upgrade the axe so that it's got more hits on it. You'll notice here I grabbed the bottle. That's force of habit now, so whenever I'm about to travel somewhere, I don't want a Molotov or a trap mine in my hand or a weapon. I immediately go for the bottle, and that's stuck with me now for so long because that's such an ingrained habit, and it's a good habit to have because the bottle or the brick in Grounded can be one of your greatest survival weapons. Alright, so we're back in the theatre after the birthday gift, and there's some items here that are not commonly found or known about. So we get a bit of scissors, we get some cloth, and upstairs there is a hidden roll of tape. So I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons and check that bell alert so you get notified the next time a video goes live. Also, if you have any questions, chuck them into the comments below. I'm Platinum God Games. Until next time, see you later.